Welcome back. This is MDawg, and I'm sitting here looking at the cafe at Belaya, and I'm feeling like, yeah, let's head to Old Berg. Oh man, somebody has made. By the way, this is our continuation of our leveling guide, 2021-2022. Somebody has made the point in chat that if we can find this Adriatica 5000 in stock, supposedly it is upgradable now with the new upgrade reel system, and that might be worth considering as we're looking at the reels that we possibly could use to be on the low end of trolling Corey. So I just mentioned this to say, like, I see your chat. I see that you've been saying that idea for a bit now. All right, rough order and Bream order. I think we can still go to Old Berg though. Regardless of orders at Old Berg, I think I want to fish at Old Berg during this episode. Just kind of check on our spot to see how it's looking. I'm really just kind of coming, because we have a second or two, I was just kind of coming by here to see, is it in stock anywhere? Because if it's not in stock, now it might be in stock at Old Berg, so then the question is just like, how expensive is it compared to what we might do otherwise? But that is a really good idea. I mean, the Adriatica used to be, long time ago, used to be the reel that I would get after the Lacerti as sort of an upgrade. But now that kind of feels like a half step. Let's check cafes just to be thorough. That's not the cafe. Chub order is always cool here if the chubs are biting, which they often are. And that's 46 silver. So if the Adriatic is in stock at Old Berg, it's going to be more expensive because it's Old Berg. It's not going to be quite as bad as it would be at Corey, I guess. All right, so it is here. 472. And then theoretically, you can upgrade that. I don't know how far you can upgrade it. Actually, I think I have a document somewhere that might show that. So I guess we can look at that once we get fishing. All right, so we want to go back to our Bream setups. We could make some Bream mix. I think I saw somebody say that pea porridge was also working really good here. So on our two main rods, we're going to do one pea porridge and one cottage cheese. But again, I think the cottage cheese will probably catch more tench and some of the other fun stuff we're getting here. So we'll still do cottage cheese on two. And it looks like we need more cottage cheese. Let's just make sure we've got the ability to do that so we can do it 2 more times. It's amazing how quickly we're going through cottage cheese. I guess we fished this spot a good bit. Pearl barley, maggots, millet, porridge, anise oil. We'll make 3 stacks of Bream mix. All right, let's go fishing. Let's go fishing. It's only 1800, so we are We're getting to the spot a little on the early side. Let's see how we do with a nice full night of fishing. Should have checked cafes to see if something was ending. Maybe we'll run back up. It's not that far. Maybe we'll run back up and do that once the lines are in the water. Any new bream spots at Old Berg that anybody knows about? I'm always open to new info. Always enjoy trying new stuff. But I'm really hoping that our little 8-meter clip here, down here at 24.33 is still going to be pretty good. All right, let's go check. Somebody in chat says, what happens when you die in game? It auto-loads you into the Fisher Own line. Yeah, it's weird, but that's the way it works. All right, so nothing here except for this tench order. 2.399 tench order. Can we do it? Someone else says, can you? No, you can't actually die in game. We're just kidding around. No dying in RF4. I don't think they'll ever have it where you can die. I could see them making the, when your health gets lower, I could see that being a more punitive experience and, like, you know, motivating you to get that health back up more quickly. As far as I know, the only way you can lose health in the game right now is if you drink too much alcohol, right? And then you can take medicine. There's certain foods that slowly bring it up, like I think garlic, maybe something else, but you can also just take medicine. To me, like, the whole food system and the health system, all that, feels like there's more that could be done with it. Feels like a work in progress. I don't know that for sure, but that's what it feels like to me. Man, that was perfect. We got all the way back from the cafe before our first fish got on. Alright, so we need to do both things, right? Cottage cheese dough. So we're just going to have to make a trip at some point to Corey to get more ingredients for cottage cheese dough. And then the other thing we need to do is Bream mix. Early, but we're already getting some okay Bream. We really want to be watching. We want to be doing the comparisons here between pea porridge and garlic dough. So far, it seems about even. I mean, we can kind of ignore this third line because it's got a smaller hook on it. Like, that's not the comparison. The comparison is the first and second line. So the first big Bream we had was on cottage cheese. The second one was on pea porridge. Now, we're not going to be able to compare it for long. I mean, it'll just sort of be our visual comparison because we will start catching big Bream on the third line as well. So cottage cheese has an unfair advantage. But just to get a general sense is like pea porridge just as good at this point as cottage cheese. And we could also look on the weeklies. I bet some of the weeklies are from Old Berg, if I had to guess. They are, and they're starting to show up more in the last day or two on pea porridge. So, you know, Also, if we don't want to run out of pea porridge, we could switch the third line to, if we don't want to run out of cottage cheese, we could switch the third line to pea porridge. All that being said, let me see if I can find the upgrade list of reels. People have started to make lists. Not everything's complete, I don't think, but a lot of it is. All right, Adriatica. 5,000. I don't remember what all these are. New data. Upgraded drag. All right, let's find out what it is. Where'd it go? All right, Adriatica. Okay, it looks like you can go up to a 9 or an 8.5. The 9 costs 79 silver. The 8.5 costs 26 silver. The reel in general costs 450. Is that right? I thought it was around 450 here, which it would be more expensive here, right? Maybe it was just like 470 something. Or 490 something here. I don't know. But if that's the case, if you can go up to 9, if you can get that, if that's in stock somewhere and it only costs 80 to 100 silver wherever you're doing it, that is a little cheaper way of getting a fairly strong little reel. Might be worth trying. You're not going to have the same spool size, but if you're trolling with it, that's all right. I think I will go ahead and put pea porridge on the third line once it's like overnight, and then maybe switch it back right before early morning when the tench might start hitting, which it's not overnight yet, so we'll keep cottage cheese on there a little bit longer. But yeah, this cottage cheese isn't going to last us forever. We only got 114 pieces. Three over a kilo so far. $216 grams. Let's hope we can't go any lower than that. Let's hope. That's a nice one. Getting some nice ones here, and it's still fairly early. 8 out of 10 on the ground bait. Thanks, Asher. Somebody is asking me directly via message, do you know a good lure that can cast real far? And there is not really an answer for that. It totally depends on test of your gear. And just so y'all know, sometimes I do get a lot of direct messages, questions in game on my leveling account and my main account. I don't always have time to respond directly to all the messages. Frankly, leaving questions on the YouTube videos is a better way of getting me because I can see those from outside of the game, which allows me a better chance to respond or at least acknowledge it at times when I'm not in game, obviously. So sometimes I do have time to respond, and I enjoy responding directly to messages, but just to let you know, that's not always the case. All right, so we're up to 4.5 over a kilo, and it's 22.43. I'm really thinking now I'm going to switch this one to pea porridge. We'll keep one on cottage cheese, but now we've got two setups on pea porridge. Yes, it's still possible we could get a tench at this point. Speaking of which, what is this? I mean, please be a bream, but it's an interesting bream if it's a bream. Oh, it is a bream. It's just a nice one. Very nice. I want to check the weeklies on the tench. I'm kind of curious. Oh man, did we just hit 49.9 on bottom fishing? We did. 49.9. So my prediction was that unless we're really unlucky, we would hit 50%, switch over to inline rig across the board during this session. Yeah, and so Asher, hopefully you're watching this video. If you look at it, so it's a little more straightforward on spinning setups. Because with spinning setups, all you have to worry about is the test of the rod. So if I have a lure that's within 5 to 25 grams using this setup, I'm going to be able to max cast it really reasonably. Obviously, the heavier it is, it probably will cast a little farther, but it should all cast a nice distance in that test, 5 to 25. If you're using a bait casting setup, bait casting reels also have their own test. And so you have to look at the test of the reel and the rod. But again, with spinning setups, you don't have to worry about that quite as much. It's a little easier to figure out just based on the test of your spinning rod. So that's what you're looking for if you're trying to figure out why certain lures aren't casting as far as other ones. It actually has more to do with the setup you're using, not the lure itself. Although, as you would think, typically heavier things cast farther as long as the setup you're using can handle that weight. So the same thing applies here. I'm using 30 gram feed feeders. And if I was fishing in a spot that was like really far away from the shore and I wanted a better chance of getting there, then as long as my test allows it, I can go up to 100 grams total weight on the line. Then I might go up to a 60 gram feeder and see if I can cast a little further that way. All right, inline rig. All right, we make the change immediately. We want to put all 3 on inline rigs. I will we'll look at that a little more closely in a second, and we're going to put all 3 points into inline rig. This should have a positive influence on the quality of fish we're catching now that we're using bottom rigs with inline. It's perfectly suited for fishing small, cautious fish. The feeder in this rig slides freely along the main line, thus not distracting fish from approaching and swallowing the bait. Goodness. Let's see, 24. All right, so so you have the Express Fishing Dynamic S70. I mean, if I don't have that... Okay, is that this? Is that this rod? I mean, what you want to do is you want to look at this test right here. 18 to 40. So the lure I recommend is anything over 18 grams if you're wanting to cast it the optimal range. Now, it totally depends on where you are. I mean, you're pretty low level. So, So the problem you're going to run into, and everyone at your level runs into this problem. In fact, if you go back and watch some of my earlier guides in this leveling series, like the first time we went to Balaya and that kind of thing, the problem you're going to run into is the lures that you want to use, most likely overall, the ideal lures that you want to use at places like Winding Rivulet and Balaya are the really small lures, such as the spiker, or the hornet, or the Achilles. But as you'll notice, it's only 3 grams. So if the test of your rod starts at 18, you're never going to be able to cast one of these spinnerbaits super far. That doesn't mean you can't use it. You can still use it, but you won't be able to get it as far. All right, let's go ahead and switch this one to inline. Does this one have a fish on it? Yeah, so let's catch this fish first. Ooh, nice size. Straight as a ruler. So that was our first fish caught on inline. That's why we got that achievement. I will come back and finish that thought in a second, Asher. All right, so let's look at this. It shows you a picture of what basic bottom looks like, right? And then this is what paternoster looks like. A second line coming off where this cage is sort of sitting near the bait. Inline allows this to move along the line. So you get the pictorial representation of what all these looks like. Now, my favorite is loop rig, but you're not there until, like, what is it, 65%? I can't remember. We'll look. But inline comes in close second. That's why I'm happy to go ahead and change to inline as soon as it's unlocked, and to go ahead and put points in it as well. Because really, it's tempting to put points in basic bottom fishing, because you will use basic bottom fishing a lot early on, and then also in specific situations later on as well. Yeah, loop rig's not till 70%. So, I mean, it's going to be a long time before we would hit 70%. In fact, we probably will not still be doing this leveling guide and to hit 70%. But, all right, to finish the thought there, so that is why rods like this rod and others are worth considering, because you at least get a lower test. Now, the spiker is still too light for this rod, but I can throw it a lot farther than I would be able to if my test was a lot higher than that. And And it's just, there's no way around it. Like, those little spinner baits are meant to be used with ultralight or light setups. The problem is, for a low-level player, ultralight especially, but even light or light medium setups are just way more expensive than what you can afford early in the game. So you're gonna just have to figure out like how you want to approach it, just to do the best you can until you get to be a little higher level and can start using some of the more like specialized gear. Now there are some lures, like the heaviest lure I have are these dragonfly streams, but they still only come in at 7 grams. I mean, you can look down the spinnerbait list. You can find one that's fat and, you know, weighs a lot, and you can try it. You're going to be able to cast it farther. My guess is it won't work as well, though. You might be able to get by with it at winding in some spots. But at Belaya, the Belaya fish seem to be really particular and like their small spinner baits. Okay. See if we can get a few more. So how have we done? 6, 12. We're about to hit 18 if we can get one more. That's another great night of bream fishing. I guess the interesting thing is we haven't had any other species. Oh, we never checked the tench. But the bite rate here on bream is still fantastic, which is great. And if it is turning into just a more straight bream spot, that's still okay. It's such a strong bream spot. This is kind of where we'd want to put cottage cheese back on to see if during these last few hours, last 2 or 3 hours, we could hit a nice tench. But, you know, what's amazing to me is just how fast you run through cottage cheese dough in this spot. And it's because of the bite rate, right? I mean, we're catching a lot of good bream. We're also catching a lot of small bream. It's just active. It's really active. And it's been so active. I mean, so the best one was pea porridge, pea porridge, pea porridge. I guess pea porridge is like maybe doing a little better now in terms of the bream. Cottage cheese is still doing really well also. So the main reason why I switched back to cottage cheese on the second one is just because that tench order was there. If there's any chance we could hit that tench order, you know, one fish, 47 silver, then it's worth doing it. All right, there's a non-bream. We just got a point. Good grief. That's amazing. People are asking for Bream mix in chat. First of all, I don't know about asking for free stuff in chat. Remember, if someone doesn't have premium, they can't send you anything. Second of all, does having Bream ground bait help? Sure, it helps. But you can still farm plenty of silver without Bream ground bait. I would always use ground bait, but, you know, just use whatever ingredients you have. Just do like crackers and trying to remember, even in this series, back in early on in this series, before we leveled up our ground bait, we were using just some of those basic ingredients and doing fine on Bream. Ooh. Wow. So 749. And this is on pea porridge, so it's probably not a tench. Wow. This feels more like a random carp or something, right? I just don't think a Bream would run that long or that fast. And this is on pea porridge. I was wondering if the carp would ever get on pea porridge. We know we've seen some carp caught here on cottage cheese dough for sure. But we've also seen it, again, this would be on cottage cheese. We've also seen it where it seemed like it was going to be a carp and then it was a decent tench. But I'm not sure that it would run this long. Tench run a little bit better than Bream do, I think. But this is getting to be just unlikely territory for a tench, I would think. Trying to get across this bridge so we can start Start running it down just a little bit. Now there's a chance it's going to run into the pond over there, but that's okay. I mean, I don't know that there's anything we can do about it right now. I'm hoping, but, you know, pretty soon it'll start to wear out. I actually think it is in the pond right now. Which will just make it really tricky to pull out, but I almost just don't want to deal with this fish. Between how long it'll take to get tired and then trying to get it out of the pond. I'm not sure how we're going to actually get it out of the pond, to be honest. I mean, it is right there, which means it's up in the boot, the toe. I guess while it still has a little life, maybe we should try to drive it right. If it does still have any life left. It's in the most extreme place possible. We just need to keep swimming to the right, please. Isn't it amazing how far you can hear those bells? We can still hear them way over here. Okay. Do we have grip on this fish now? maybe. All right. We'll try to pull it out. I don't know if it'll work or not, but we'll try. So the question is, how far in is it? It's still pretty far. This is going to be really annoying. But if we can cross the bridge, we're probably good. Look how much line we have on this spool. It is just incredible. I just never dreamed it was going to do all this to us. Okay. I still don't know that we can get it. I mean, if you look at like where it is, it still might clip land from here. So I still think we need to get a more extreme angle on it. But at least we're pulling line towards us now. Now let's look from here and see what it looks like. Alright, it's right there. That's probably good. We want to pull it as an extreme angle as possible. Okay, I mean technically I think we're probably good from here. Hopefully we don't break anything. We have it out of the pond now, I believe. Alright, we should be able to pull it to right here. It's not quite out of the pond, is it? It is so dead. Done worn out, poor guy. It's one of those like annoying 5 kilo common carp or grass carp or whatever, just never worth it. Never worth it. Now if it's a tench, obviously it's worth it. But this would be the meanest tench I've ever seen. I just don't think that's what it is. They just get caught on something? Well, we can see him coming in now. It's probably actually worth just not moving anymore. He's so close. I'm putting a lot of strain on this reel, but he's upside down. What is that? It's got to be a grass or a common, right? It's a grass carp. It's like the worst possibility. And you can tell it's not that big. And that was on pea porridge, not cottage cheese. Whew, 8.4. No thank you. My goodness. What? Did we have a fish got away? I mean, had to have, right? So 51 fish in 47 minutes, but an unfortunate amount of time was spent on one grass carp. We still did really well there, though. 19 over 1 kilo. No tench. Tench don't seem to be there at the moment, or at least we didn't catch any. Tench are so streaky, you never know. Oh, trophy bream order, just nice. I mean, that's totally possible right now, obviously, in that spot. 132. So that grass carp's only worth 15 silver, and it probably did 50 silver worth of damage. I don't know. But look at all those bream, and they add up. So very good. So that almost doubles our silver up to 273. Working our way towards, I don't know, whatever we decide to do. Maybe we try the expensive Adriatica. I say expensive because it's here at Old Berg, but maybe we do. Okay, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support, folks. I wish you all the best, tight lines, and I will see you again soon. Peace out.